So, good day. Example 10.2 equivalent resistance, current, and power in a series circuit. A battery with a terminal voltage of 9 volt is connected to a circuit consisting of 4 20 ohms and 1 10 ohms resistors all in series. Assume the battery has negligible internal resistance. So, A. Calculate the equivalent resistance of the circuit. B. Calculate the current through each resistor. And C. Calculate the potential drop across each resistor, and D is determine the total power dissipated by the resistor and the power supplies by the battery. So given resistance 1 have 20 ohms, resistance 2 20 ohms the opponent, and the resistance 3 20 ohms, and the last resistance 4 20 ohms, and the last is resistance 5 we have 10 ohms. So how to solve this problem? So kaya naka-series man siya, i-add lang siya in a normal way. So add resistance 1 until to resistance 5. So 20 ohms plus 20 ohms plus 20 ohms. And the last 20 ohms plus 10 ohms. So we have 90 ohms. And for the calculate the current through its resistors. So given voltage of 9 volt and a resistor of 9 ohms, muna isang resulta ganihan itong gisolve. And with the equation of current is equals to volt divide resistor. So substitute 9 volts divide 90 ohms. So we get the current of 0.1 amperes. So, and for the C, calculate the potential drop across each resistor. So, kay same naman ang B1, B2, B3, o B4. We have 20 ohms. So, iusara sila. So, we use the formula of is equals to current times resistor. So, our current here is 0.01 ampere times 20 ohms. So, we get 2 volts. And for the resistance 5, kaya naglahi man siya 10 ohms naman siya, lahi ang iyang solution. So 0.1 ampere times 10 ohms, so we get 1 volt. So para makuha ng iyang i-add na to sila tanan. So 4 resistors that have 2 volts and 1 resistor that have 1 volt. So they get 9 and for the day, we solve the power dissipated by a resistor, which equal to the formula of R is equal to current I square times resistance. So, and the power supplies by the battery, use the equation of P is equals to IE. So, umura sa siya sa ganihang solution. So, same naman sa ang upat sa usara. So, I is I squared times R. So, substitute, we all know that our current is 0.1 ampere. So, square na to na siya. Then, times to 20 ohms. So, we get 0.2 watts. And for the 5, resistance 5, kailangan mo siya 10 ohms. So, 0.1 square times 10 ohms. So, we get 0.1 watt. So, mura Japon, same na Japon sa ganiha nga i-add ang P dissipated. So, P1 plus P2 plus P3 until to P5. So, we get the 0.9 watt dissipated. And for the source, so we use the formula of current times A. So, our current is 0.1 ampere and our A is 9 volts. So, we get 0.9 watt. So, example 10.3, analysis of parallel circuit. 3 resistors, R1 is equals to 1 ohms, R2 is 2 ohms, and R3 is 2 ohms. So, are connected in parallel. The parallel connected is attached to the bolt of 3 volts. And what is the equivalent resistance? Find the current supplies by the source to the parallel circuit. And C is calculate the current in each resistors and show the these add together to the equal current output of the source. And D is calculate the power dissipated by each resistor. And the last is find the power output of the source and show that it equals the total power dissipated by the resistor. A, which is what is the equivalent resistance? So given is resistance 1, 1 ohms, resistance 2, 2 ohms, resistance 3, 2 ohms also. So solution, we use a formula of 1 divide resistance 1 plus 1 divide resistance 2 and so on with a ratio to the power of -1. So substitute the value. So resistance 1 is 1 ohms, resistance 2 is 2 ohms, and the last resistance is 3 ohms. So 1 divide 1 ohms plus 1 divide 2 ohms and 1 divide 2 ohms also. Raised to the power of -1. So we come up with the answer of 0.50 ohms. And for the B, find the current supplied by the source to the power circuit. So use the Ohm's law in this problem. So we use a formula of volt is equals to current times resistance. So ang gipangitaan ni kay current man, so nautro ang yang formula, so which is current is equals to volt divide resistance. So ang kabulon naman tatong volt is 3.0 volt and our resistance is 0.50 ohms. So solve it. 3 volt divide 0.50 ohms is equals to 6 ampere. Muna siya itong current. And for the C, calculate the currents to each resistor and show that these add together to equal the current output of the source. So calculating each current that different resistance using Ohm's law. So lalahin nato sila ibulag. So resistance 1 mo siyang use the equation of current is equals to volt divide resistance. So ang itong volt is 3 volt divide sa itong resistance 1 which is 1 ohms. So we get our current 1 3.0 ampere. And for the current 2, 3 volt divide 2 ohms muna sa itong resistance 2. So we get our current is equals to 1.50 ampere. And for the last resistance, so volt is 3 volt divide 2 ohms muna sa itong resistance 3. So we get 1.50 amperes. So ato siya i-total. Sa pag-total yan ni diay, ato na siya i-add. So current 1 plus current 2 plus current 3. So our current 1 here is 3 ampere. Our current 2 is 1.50 and same with the current 3. So 3 ampere plus 1.50 ampere plus 1.50. So we get our current is equals to 8 ampere. So and for the D, power dissipated can be solved using the equation of RB squared divide R in each value. So equation of power is equals to volt square divide resistance. So our volt here is 3 volts. So i-square na to niya itong 3 volts. So we get 9 volts. And our resistance 1 which is 1 ohms. So solve 9 volt divide 1 ohms is equals to 9 watts. And for the second resistance, so 3 volts square divide 2 ohms. So 90 divide 9 volts divide 2 ohms, so we get 4.50 watts. And for the last resistance, so we 3 volts square divide 2 ohms. So 9 volts divide 2 ohms, so we get 4.5 watts. And for the last, which is E, the power calculated using watts, using Ohm's law or add all. So Because equation in Ohm's law, is power is equal to current times volt. So we all know that our current here is 6 ampere, and on our volt is 3 volts. So we get 18 watts. So wala na ko nabutang
Again, kung ato lang siya i-add,
so 4.5 watts plus 4.5 watts, so we get 9 watts. And add also with 9 watts, so we get 18 watts. Pwede rin siya sa i-add all or using the Ohm's law formula.